Buzz, welcome back to the channel where we dive into everything K-pop. From mind-blowing comebacks to record-breaking tours, and today we're talking about something huge. Like history-making huge, Stray Kids just wrapped up their North American Stadium tour finale in the most epic way possible, by packing out Rogers Stadium in Toronto. Now if that name doesn't ring a bell right away, let me give you some context. Rogers Stadium is a brand new concert-specific stadium in Canada that can hold up to 50,000 people. And guess who was the very first act to perform there? That's right, Stray Kids. Not just the first K-pop act, the first ever. So yeah, this isn't just another tour stop. This is a milestone, a moment in K-pop history. Stray Kids didn't just perform, they opened the stadium. And they did it with a bang. They kicked off the show with Mountains, which honestly is the perfect opening song if you think about it. Like, the symbolism is real. Stray Kids literally climbing mountains, physical, emotional, and now stadium-sized ones. It's almost poetic, right? And from there, they just kept going. They performed hit after hit, and yes, they even did mixtape Dominate, which I think is one of those tracks that feels even more powerful live. It's gritty, it's intense, and seeing it in a stadium filled with tens of thousands of fans, that must have been electrifying. Let's just pause here and appreciate something. This was the largest K-pop concert ever held in Canada, ever. That's a massive statement, not just for Stray Kids, but for the entire Hallyu movement. Canada isn't always the first country we think of when it comes to giant K-pop events. But this proves there's a huge demand, and Stray Kids just unlocked that next level. And what makes it even more special is what they said to Stays. They thanked the fans multiple times. They said they were touched that the fans filled the venue. And honestly, that gets me every time. Like, yeah, the production, the lights, the choreography, that's all amazing. But what really makes it hit different is when the artist turns around and says, "Hey, we couldn't have done this without you." They literally said, "Thank you for lighting up Toronto with your bright lights tonight." Ugh, that's the kind of stuff that gives you goosebumps, especially if you were there. Let me know in the comments if you were actually at the Toronto show. I need details. I want to live through your fan cams. And can we talk about how this was the finale of the North American tour? They started this journey in Seattle back on May 24th, and since then, they've done 13 shows across 10 different cities. That's not just impressive, that's exhausting, and yet, every single time, they bring the same energy, the same fire. What really stands out to me is how much they've grown in just 2 years. Like, remember when they were doing smaller venues back in 2023? Now they're headlining stadiums. Not arenas, stadiums. That's a completely different level of logistics, performance, energy, and global impact. And if that wasn't enough, they also set records along the way. First K-pop artist to perform at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Camping World Stadium in Orlando, and Nationals Park in DC. And they didn't just visit these places, they owned them. That's not something you can fake. That's real momentum, real fan power, and real strategy. Their agency even said it straight. Stray Kids expanded from a handful of cities to 10 regions in just 2 years. That's not just progress, that's domination, hence the name of the tour, Dominate. You have to admit they understood the assignment. But what I find super interesting is the pacing. They're not slowing down at all, just as the North American leg ends. They're already preparing to kick off their first European stadium tour starting July 11th. At Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam. Like, no break, straight to the next. And okay, can we talk about this for a second? This isn't just impressive physically, it's strategic. They are claiming global territory. It's not just about releasing songs anymore, it's about owning space, geographic space, cultural space, stadium space. It's like Stray Kids are saying, we're not just part of K-pop, we're defining it. But now I want to bring you guys into this discussion because this is where it gets real. Do you think Stray Kids have officially entered the same touring tier as BTS or Blackpink? I mean, numbers-wise, they're definitely getting close, but in terms of cultural presence, are they there yet? Or do they still have a few steps left before reaching that elite tier? And also, who else do you think is going to make this kind of stadium leap next? Is it 17? TXT, maybe even rookie groups like Rise in a few years? Let's start a prediction thread in the comments. I love hearing your takes. And if you were at any of the Dominate tour stops, whether it was Seattle, LA, DC, or Toronto, I want you to spill everything. What was the best performance? What song made you cry? What moment gave you chills? Because honestly, these are the stories that bring us together as fans. Watching fancams is one thing, but hearing your personal experiences makes it real. So let's talk. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Because this concert and this tour aren't just about Stray Kids proving something to the fans. We already know how talented they are. This was about proving something to the industry. about showing that a fourth-gen K-pop group can headline stadiums on their own terms with their own music, and still sell out massive venues that even Western artists dream of filling. Think about it. The Rogers Stadium show wasn't just a first for Stray Kids. It was the first concert ever held in that stadium, before Coldplay, before Oasis, before anyone else. That's wild, that's a statement, that's the kind of legacy move people will be talking about years from now. And here's where I get a little sentimental, because I remember when Stray Kids was still considered the underdog group from JYP, they didn't follow the typical pretty boy image. They were edgy, experimental, and sometimes even a bit chaotic, but they stayed true to themselves. And look where that got them. They're not following a blueprint, they're making one for the next generation of K-pop acts who want to do things their own way, write their own music, build their own sound, connect with fans through raw energy instead of polished perfection. That's the Stray Kids brand. And now, it's filling stadiums. I also want to take a second to acknowledge the stays, because none of this happens without them. This fandom is relentless in the best way. The streaming, the organizing, the social media presence, the support across continents. Stays aren't just fans. They're a force. It's easy to focus on what the artists are doing on stage, but behind every sold-out venue, there's a massive wave of stays who made it happen. So if you're watching this and you're part of that fandom, give yourself a round of applause. Seriously, you helped Stray Kids reach this moment. And can we talk visuals for a second? The lighting at Rogers Stadium was unreal. I've seen photos and clips from that night, and it seriously looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. The lights, the pyro, the screen effects, all of it just elevated the entire experience. This is the kind of concert that ruins you for normal concerts. Nothing else compares after this. Now, I want to switch gears a little and look ahead, because Stray Kids aren't stopping. With the European tour starting in Amsterdam on July 11th, we're going to see how their stadium energy translates to a whole new audience. Europe is known for its wild, passionate K-pop crowds, so I have a feeling the vibes are going to be intense. And I'm really curious to see how they adjust the set list, too. Will they bring in new remixes, different intros, maybe surprise songs? Depending on the city, Stray Kids are the type of performers who evolve mid-tour. They're constantly thinking about how to top their last performance. And I wouldn't be surprised if the European leg ends up being even more explosive. So let's make some predictions together. What do you think will be the biggest moment of the European tour? Will they debut a new track live? Will we get a special collab, maybe a fan project that goes viral? Let's speculate in the comments, because I want to hear all your theories. And here's another thought, with this kind of touring momentum, is a world tour encore possible in 2026? Or maybe even a Tokyo Dome solo concert? That's been a dream for so many groups. And I honestly think Stray Kids are knocking on that door already. And not to stir the pot too much, but what about a Super Bowl stage? I know it sounds far off, but if BTS and Blackpink have opened that global performance lane, why not Stray Kids in the next few years? They have the energy, the discography, and the fandom to back it up. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to say one more thing, and it's for anyone who still doubts 4th-gen K-pop power. Just look at the numbers, look at the stadiums, look at how global the reach is. Groups like Stray Kids aren't just following in anyone's footsteps, they're building their own highways. So whether you've been a stay since Elevator or you just discovered them through this tour, now's the time to lean in. Because they're not slowing down. If anything, this feels like just the beginning. Alright, Buzz fam, now it's your turn. Jump in the comments and tell me which Dominate tour stop was your favorite. What moment from the Rogers Stadium show gave you goosebumps, and what do you hope to see on the European leg? Let's make this comment section blow up with love, stories, and predictions. Because this is the kind of moment we'll want to look back on and say, yeah, I was there. I saw it happen. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. And as always, thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and stay buzzing. Annyeong Buzz.